Welcome to
You Kill Me.
Or You Kill Me. Or You Kill Me. This is
Kasia and Eugene's
film reviews for Reprobates.
Exactly. And Coup.
And this week,
we are going to talk about
Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You by Boots Riley.
Boots Riley. Cut the music. Yeah. So Boots Riley, also known as the lead singer, band leader of the Coup or the Coup, depending on whether you want to use it.
He's got like a bunch of other music projects.
He has a bunch of other music projects, but that was his big one and the one that he was mostly known for. And it sets it up nicely if you say, if I'm sure, I think, well, I'm not sure, but I like the play on the word. It's either the Coup or the Coup. It's either car or revolution. And if you remember, one of their big songs, one of their minor league hits, was Gin and Genocide, which was a play on Snoop Dogg's, of course, Gin and Juice. So that sets you up perfectly to understand the parameters of this story. Okay.
Yes. So apparently Boots Riley wrote that movie in 2012. So a while ago. And then he actually released a record under the same title, and then he made a book out of it, which the record apparently was the soundtrack for the movie.
Right.
And yeah, and I was actually watching an interview with him recently, and he said that because he wrote that movie in 2012, he had to cut out several parts because they were kind of like too real. And one of them, I actually wrote it down because it was great. One of the characters said, "Worry-free is making America great again."
Well,
he wrote that in 2012. He's a genius.
Well, if you remember, the Coup has been agit-propsters who have had an eerie kind of sense of their record had planes crashing into the
Poppers?
Had those planes crashing into the World Trade Center before 9/11. So it was, and of course, the record came out like in August or July, and then in September 9/11, the planes crashed into the building. So the label was like, "Fuck, do we release the record or what do we do?" As far as he was concerned, it's the same kind of timing that. I mean, as an artist, you love. I remember a friend of mine who David Bowie called him at home, and they were friends. Well, they knew each other. He was a journalist, and Bowie said, "Hey, man, do you think I'm still relevant?" Like David Bowie was concerned about relevance. And I don't remember what my friend answered, but my answer to David Bowie would have been, "Twinkies are relevant. Significant is what you want." And I think Boots Riley has managed to be significant at all the right times. And the fact that he was like, I don't want to seem to be too significant. We're going to take the Make America Great shit out of the movie.
Yeah, I would like to leave it because of that, but it's still genius. I think that the fact that he actually wrote that is some kind of it's like he's a Nostradamus of a movie, like you're a Nostradamus of a music.
Or like the guy on the Chappelle Show, Nigodamus. So, well, Paul Mooney, who was also a one-time Oakland resident, is the one who coined that, with the black man who sees the future. But anyway, so we went and it was another one of our Alamo Draft House. And I know Alamo Draft House is corporate, even though they're trying to sell indie mainstream, and it's corporate. But I gotta tell you, we enjoy it.
I love it.
Heads and shoulders over, sitting there with dummies at the Century 16 who are texting through the entire movie. Fuck that. I decided that the wave of the future will be if we have to go see a blockbuster at a Century 16, every single time that I'm interrupted, I'm going to seek a refund afterward.
And that's the plan for the future. Yeah. I actually really like it because I like each time when I'm actually in a regular theater, I'm just immediately annoyed.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm paying the money, and I'm annoyed.
She came up with a great strategy, but of course, it's anti-theater and anti-art, but it is a great strategy. If somebody close to you gets on their phone and starts doing stuff, she was leaning over looking at them. Because clearly what they were doing was more interesting in the movie, so she wanted in on the action. So she's looking over to see that the woman's phone just kind of staring at. The woman kind of uncomfortably just put it away. Apparently, her privacy concerns trumped our interest in her texting through the entire movie.
Yeah, and then I get to the conclusion that if you're doing something in a moment of kind of like it's not private when everybody can see it.
Yep. Right. So you're sharing.
I just want to see what's so important, and then again, I'm not going to the theater to fucking argue with people and do all that shit. I want to watch a movie.
Which you can do at Alamo.
So Alamo is like the perfect place. It's a happy place for us, and they have really good pizza.
We discovered.
Yes.
So anyway, so this movie. Sorry to bother you.
Yes. So it's a story of Cassius Green, the main character, who's a kind of he lives in a garage with his girlfriend that he loves.
I've lived in a garage.
I lived in a garage.
Did you?
Yeah, of course.
With a garage door?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did they close up the garage door? Or did the garage door still work?
I think it was sealed and there was like a separate entrance, but their cat was coming to the place, so it was kind of fun. And then there was like a sometimes people have a entrance to the house through the garage.
Yeah.
So there was one like that. And it was in the restroom, which was kind of creepy because, theoretically they weren't using that door, but the dogs they had the little annoying dogs that were coming to pee on the door. So there was a bunch of dog piss.
I actually, my garage was one of my favorite places I ever lived.
No,
the garage door was very thin and it was very cold always, but I had a great.
Well, I don't know. There, outside of the cat who was visiting me, it was pretty depressing. Yeah. But so anyway,
he lived in a garage.
Cassius Green was living in a garage with his girlfriend, and he was looking for a job actively, and he couldn't get it. So finally, he just decided to go and do some telemarketing.
And there are all these little nuggets that Riley has done, which he picked up on in his music, like his band, the Coup, or the Car, or the Coup, the political movement. Cassius Green, of course. Yeah, right. Okay, you got it. Cash is green.
Yeah,
Cassius,
you got it.
Okay. Got it. Little touches like that, the devil's in the details. I tend to love.
I mean, they even call him Cash. So.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Cash Green. Yeah. So. So he decided to do some telemarketing job, and he gets into the company, and their main slogan is "Stick to the script," which means don't be creative at all.
STTS.
Stick to the script. Just say what's in the script, nothing else. Just be fucking square script. But he's not very successful, and at some point, older employee is telling him to use his white voice. And the employee, what's the name of that?
Danny Glover.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Danny Glover is black, so he's using a white voice.
Actually, it was Danny Glover who's better than I've seen him in a long time.
He was great. Yep.
I mean, I remember him making a big splash. If you remember, with the movie Witness, with Kelly, who was Tom Cruise's love interest from Top Gun, and then I can't remember the white actor who was the lead in it. And then he just he did like Lethal Weapon, and it was a really foul period. I guess he did Color Purple, which I never saw. And I'll talk about why I didn't see it in a few minutes. But he was great in this. Mm-hmm. And when he says use a white voice, and all the stuff you can glean from the previews, we're not giving away the factory or the plot. He explains to him, he goes, not a voice that just sounds white, but a voice that embodies whiteness, like
speak with ease.
Yeah, ease.
Like you don't have any worry in your life. Yeah. Like you don't need that job.
I know a lot of white people. Only about 20% of them feel that way, but I got
the white voice.
Yeah. Well,
worry free.
He's
it's making America great again.
Bolstering a collective illusion, which is really good. So, if you've read Alan Harrington's The Revelations of Dr. Modesto, this huge to that storyline where the guy's a relatively unsuccessful salesman. He writes away to Dr. Modesto, gets his book of tips and tricks, and learns how to be a super effective salesman. So it's a transformation story or a story about transformations. Right?
You did not.
Okay. I did not. So what I like about this thing is that the movie, because of marketers who don't have an ounce of creativity, is initially pitched to you as a black movie. Mm-hmm. By which I mean, also on the preview docket when they showed this movie was Spike Lee's upcoming The Black Klansman, which seems interesting to me, even though I've got a personal problem with Spike Lee because of past interactions, personal interactions, which I won't go into on the show because I actually want to see the movie and I want to put it aside. And so Black Klansman is coming up. So he said, okay, it's a black movie. Boots Riley, hip hop guy, black guy, black. That was a black movie. I don't get the feeling that it's going to be a color purple thing, which movies which I typically stayed away from because they felt like after school specials to me. It's kind of a didactic thing, movie that you should see because it's deeply serious and earnest, right? Versus because it's just good. But very quickly it becomes clear that that's not the movie at all. It's not a black movie at all. No. The movie is essentially an extended meditation on the nature of capital. And then I remember that this has been one of his things. Why? Based on his background. I think the guy was Oakland born and bred and was old enough, and his parents were involved in both community theater as well as the Black Panther movement, that he actually saw the benefits of both community theater and community organizing. So, a discussion, the same mind that gave birth to gin and genocide. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean to come alive with pleasure with Newport cigarettes, only advertising in black neighborhoods right next to this place that sell cheap fortified wine that poisons people? What does it mean? Concerns about the people and the nature of your fucking soul. All of a sudden it became a grand philosophical treatise in my mind. And I was in all of it.
Because what's white voice, right? How many white people actually have a real white voice? Well, how many white people are worry free and just like casual, and how many of them can speak with ease and feel like they don't need the job? Yeah. Not that many of them. This is what Trump supporters want to believe white America is.
Well, the thing is, so pretty soon, I'd say maybe in the first 8 minutes, it had moved from being a black movie in my mind to a movie that was clearly a meditation, a capital.
Exactly.
And so when Danny Glover says, use your white voice, even though he said white, and it was a black guy saying use your white voice, at that point that comes up in the movie, it had ceased being a movie about race in America in any way, shape, or form in my mind. It was purely a movie about capital.
About class.
Yeah, in a certain degree, hit home. I mean, these things are connected.
Connected, of course.
Capital and class in America.
Well, everywhere.
Well, actually, not really, because you have broke nobles and royals. Still, But it is connected in a more subtle way here in America. So I thought it was fantastic, because if you live in a prison of measured time, like many of us do, like a friend of mine said, I really like coffee. I go, okay. I really like it. I go, okay. I really liked it right up until I had a thought. I go, okay, what was the thought? He goes, the thought was only poor people need coffee. Rich people might like it, but poor people need it. I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, there's not a single rich person who's getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning if they don't want to. And I was like, oh. So suddenly a discussion about nutrition and likes and dislikes and hobbies and pastimes, coffee shop, I'm a coffee expert, became a discussion of class. It all redounds to class in this instance, right? Because we're mimetic creatures. Why is he staying in bed until 10? Why can't I stay in bed until 10? Well, you got to work. Why do I have to work? Why does he have to? Well, he's got $19 billion in the bank. Why does he have $19 billion in the bank, but I don't have $19 billion in the bank? Would it be nice for me to have $19 billion? Yes, it would be. But that's the subtext of this movie.
Yes. And of course, Cassius, after using his white voice, becomes very successful. And he's going up and up and up and up. And suddenly finally they propose to move him to the higher level. Right,
because all these things, all these Ponzi-like schemes, it's have the presidential level, the power earners. I mean, because like I had a professor once who said, you know how you tell a cult? Because it's always graduated levels of involvement, right? I mean, like it or not, you may not like Christianity, he goes, or Islam, but if you say to somebody, could you tell me about Islam or Christianity? They give you the book, and that's it. You're left. The Bible, the Quran, there you go. The Torah, the Talmud, there you go. That's it. But with Scientology, is I give you one book now, then you gotta come back to the other book, you gotta go to the other book, get that book. Maybe if you're good enough, we'll let you in on the top level. So they create this power brokers level for him to be part of. And naturally, he comes face to face with Dr. Dre's famous line, because I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but Dr. Dre's famous line, which was, to get paid quick, you gotta suck a fat dick.
Horse dick in this case.
So in this instance, I mean, and this is a great thing for people. I mean, specifically in the valleys. The movie was occurred in Oakland, and just this like, what are you willing to give away in order to? What are you willing to trade your life away for?
And is it right or not?
Yeah. So
like in the name of what? And it's just so many. It's so multi-level, and I love it. What else?
So like Jose Saramago, who was one of my favorite writers. If you've ever read his stuff, it's like, man, should take this kind of magical realism. I mean, this is not.
Yes.
This is. I've been interested in how they try to slot this movie. Is it fantasy? Is it sci-fi? Is it urban? Is it romance? They don't know really what to do with it, in the same way that they didn't know what to do with Get Out. Also, one of the producers is Jordan Peele, and it was nice to see this kind of convocation of black folks who shit that I really like. Like Forrest Whitaker was an executive producer, so was Jordan Peele, Boots Riley, Danny Glover. It was like, oh, finally. They don't have to be like Terrence Howard, who the dint of his position, his looks, and his talent, has been able to rage his way to the top while being a complete piece of shit as a person, not helping anybody. I'm just basing this on the fact that he's at multiple assaults against multiple wives and girlfriends. And this guy, I guarantee this guy is not out helping anybody. But I like this little rascal thing of like, hey man, Boots Riley said he grew up with Danny Glover, because Danny Glover was involved in community theater. He was involved with his parents, so he knew him. And he was like, Danny was glad to do it. It wasn't like he said, oh, I'm just going to do the kid a favor. He didn't take me seriously until I had enough shit going to be taken seriously. But I like the idea of the little rascal saying, like, let us make a movie. You can do this, I can do this. We get Jordan, we get Forrest Whitaker. I think it's
it worked really well, and the energy of the movie was great. The idea was fantastic, and how do you say it in English? It was good.
Well, look up the word, because you should. I mean, you would try to communicate with people.
Yeah.
So,
I just keep talking.
You learn the Polish word, and then you will learn the English word.
I know the Polish word.
Well, yeah.
My Polish is much better than my English.
Well, that's what we'll figure it out, because we want to learn Polish.
There's no form, I guess.
So what's a Polish word?
Shekas.
Pushekas. And that means form.
Yeah, but like I don't think it's
like a form that you fill out.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
That's what I thought, that I will never find this word. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We are diverse. It's a digression that nobody needs. What else?
Acting was great. I enjoyed. There was not any. I didn't feel any. That there were any. There were no weak spots. Like I remember. I don't know if you remember Matty Rich. And this came around the same. Like they were supposed to be this Renaissance led by Spike Lee, and there were the Hughes brothers came toward the end of that. And Matty Rich, I think it was straight out of Brooklyn was the name of the movie, maybe. And it's going back so long I can barely remember. And I thought that was a little bit of wishful thinking. It wasn't a bad movie, on par with other first-time director movies, but I thought that this was assured, confident performances, and I thought that Riley himself had a real strong authorial voice and directorial voice, and for a first time effort, I got the sense, and this is going to sound strange because the movies are totally different. I got the same sense that I got when I saw Christopher Nolan. And Christopher Nolan, even though he's done, the Batman movies and big blockbuster things, he has his first movie was Following, which was a small movie with not Thandie Newton. I can't remember who it was with, but it was like looking at a Picasso from the Blue Period, where the personality and the identity of the artist, the creative auteur, was so there. It was like a friend of mine once said, "Have you ever looked at a cow and wondered if it was a cow or not?" No. You look at a cow right away. It's cow. It's complete in its cowness, right? And I felt that way about. Now he could stumble on his next one and make a complete piece of shit. But this movie, sorry to bother you, is well worth being seen.
I think so too. Yeah, and it's like kind of divided naturally in 3 parts, like pre-success and then success and then kind of choices, and each part is getting more and more kind of surreal and metaphorical. And there's like a lot of like weird magical realism. It's kind of like, I don't know, Naked Lunch or Being John Malkovich or even Fight Club. It kind of, it's just, I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah, and that's a good. John Malkovich is a good call because
yes.
I did get a touch of Spike Jonze in there. The kind of like, fuck it, let's just do something. So none of the choices are predictable, and if you manage to stay away from the previews and shows like this, we've given away very little of the plot in actual fact. If we manage, I think that you'll have a great time.
Yes, today, because I was sick and dying, I was reading a little bit about this movie, and people are really trying to do it to make it about race. Like really, they even say, "Oh, sorry to bother you." It's because Black people say it, and they feel like they're burdened. So as soon as he stopped speaking,
which is completely fucking retarded.
He stops saying sorry to bother you. It's like, no, he still was saying it. It was a formula. He stick to the script.
Yeah.
But it's not really a movie about race. It's more about class and sorry, I'm sick. Help me.
Well, I don't know what word you're going for, so
we use that word like 1,000 times. What is the movie about?
Capital.
Capital. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm thinking in Polish. That's why. And I just have nothing to like. I would watch it again. I would tell anybody else to watch it.
Yeah, there's a weird thing that happens. I remember once that somebody was deriding Robert De Niro as a professional Italian American, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that like he was doing movies that he was successful in by dint of his familiarity with the subject, and of course, I don't know if De Niro was sensitive to that, but again, then he started doing roles that were widely divergent to greater or lesser success, and they tend to do that with Black folks, right? Mm-hmm. They tend to say, if he had gone into a pitch meeting, I'm sure, and said, I want to do a movie about the nature of capital, the calculus that's done is like, well, I got lots of directors that can do a movie about capital. I need a 2-for-1 here. If I'm going to go through the trouble of actually funding and bankrolling a Black director, it's got to be on some Black shit, because my white directors are not going to have any credibility to do the Black shit. So I got to seem like I'm with it. I got to do a certain kind of Black shit. Just do the Black shit. Well, I don't want to do like my novel, Long Slow Screw. Now, there may be Black characters in the book, but race is really not part of the book at all. Mm-hmm. The main character could be Black. It could be biracial. You don't know. From his last name, he talks about Africa as a motherland. You never know with my book because it's not really a point. But the fact of the matter is, if that book had been published by a large publisher, they would have gone, well, how the fuck do we market this? He's writing about the mafia, but he's a black guy. But he's writing about the mafia. It has no fucking bearing on the actual work. It does no, you know. So I mean, I'm sure Riley had to go to a pitch meeting and say, "Oh, this is a black," but the movie is the incapable. Well, okay, it's black capital, which is why reviewers are fucking stumbling over how to review the movie because they go for the okie doke. It's like, well, he's a vibrant voice from the black community. He's discussing problems in the black community, something that he could only have entree in. But you gotta understand, you're more obsessed with our negritude than we are. Right? Like I wake up, I brush my teeth, I go to work. I'm not thinking about that shit that you're thinking about. You know, you pass me on the side of the road, oh my God, there's a black guy. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, there's a white guy. I'm just going about my business, you know, trying to put one foot in front of the other.
It wasn't a movie about the code switching.
Yeah, yeah, that's not what the movie was about.
Because the idea of white was in this movie is not just sounding white. It is sounding like who white people would like to be. Right, which is rich and without any worries, right?
Which is part of the American dream.
Successful, yeah.
It's how we keep the guillotines and the tambrels from rolling to the guillotines, because this idea that you too could make it. And this movie is, meditation is nice. I would almost say a condemnation, but that's just because I know where the guy's history is from. So I mean, it's not often that you, and then even when in the parts of the movie that have Hollywood entrees, like anytime you have a couple in a movie, and there's going to be like kind of typical Hollywood entrees, and he does like a lot of like Pasolini does. It's a weird connection, I know, but Pasolini does it in Solo, where you kind of think it's going to go down a predictable road, and then it doesn't go down a predictable road, and it doesn't. I was like, fuck, it's a small thing, but it's so refreshing. It was so cool. It was okay. Sorry. I'm gushed enough about Sorry to Bother You. I'm trying to get my kids to see it, and I was actually getting angry with them, like texting them. You said, "Oh, what's it about? Is it about you?" No, you should go see it. Well, what's it about? I go, "I'll just watch a preview." They don't watch a preview, just go see it. I said, "Just go down." Okay, Dad, just relax. I was like, "See it." I'm not telling you to see just because the characters are black and directors are black. You should see it. It's a great. I mean, I think a lot about money. So for me, it was a great way to spend 90 minutes or 2 hours, whatever it was. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, and the Alamo was a perfect place to watch it. Like, try to watch it in a theater where nobody's gonna bother you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're gonna do our rating system. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Oh wow, 9.
9, yeah.
No. I'm giving it an 8.
Oh, I give it a 9.
Okay,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's first thing. I would give it a 9, but it's the first movie. I know I'm just based on the. I want to see what the guy does with real budget, real character. But I'm super happy. Nice to see Terry Crews in it as well. People say they have sympathy for the guy. People say they care about #MeToo. But I was worried, scared to death that he was going to become the Colin Kaepernick of the acting profession, right? So, in other words, like they were going to say, oh, yeah, it was a brave and noble thing. Excuse me, a brave and noble thing that he's done, but then some of the guys not getting work. So I was glad to see. It's a small film, but I was glad to see him in it. So,
that's it.
Go see it.
Yes, go see it.
We've talked for half an hour. We've blabbed your ears off. Thanks for sticking with us, viewers. If you subscribe to the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper channel on YouTube, you will only get bugged twice when I do the Show Stomper show, which is about MMA or philosophy, depending on your feeling, and you get an announcement for this show. So if you subscribe, it lets you know that the show is coming, which is okay because sometimes we switch the times. Like this next week, the Show Stomper, which usually happens on Sunday, probably won't happen on Sunday.
It probably is never happening on Sunday either.
Yeah, it'll probably happen.
Maybe we'll watch something. No.
So. It'll probably be later on in the week, but we'll do one once a week or once every 7 days. So, but if you subscribe, it lets you know automatically. Anyway, go below, give us a thumbs up, tell your friends about it, and we're gonna go drink and go to sleep. All right,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.